What's up everyone? Welcome to Home Built Workshop. Today we're going to build some cool scrap wood pencil holders. I'm starting to get a fair amount of scrap wood built up, so I needed to come up with a project to use up some of that and also be something that's very useful around the house. One thing that you can never have on hand enough: pencils. I got pencils everywhere. You always need a pencil for marking out wood, laying out some lines, and also all around the house. My choice is a pencil. So I got pencils everywhere. Need some pencil holders to help keep them organized. Otherwise, they're just all over the place. I'm going to use some hemlock that's left over from a guitar project for the sides. Also, I have this cool piece of Purpleheart that I think is going to look really good for the base. I like the combination of the two colors together. I think it's going to look really cool once we get some finish on it. First, I'll resaw the hemlock on the bandsaw. Then I'll send the pieces through my thickness planer to get them nice and flat and get them to the same thickness. Now I'll square up one edge of these boards. Next, I'll set my table saw blade to 45 degrees and I'll start cutting the mitered sides that'll make up the box. Now that I've got all the sides cut, I need to cut this piece of Purpleheart down to make the bases. I'll just cut out a couple of squares on the table saw. I'll set up a stop block to make this really simple. Now with my stop block set, I can just make the cut, rotate the piece, and make another cut to get a perfect square. Now with a straight cutting bit on my router table, I'm going to cut a groove that the box will fit over. This will give me just a little bit more surface area for gluing. It won't just be gluing the box flat on the top. I'll do this in a couple of passes, raising the bit as I go. Now it's time to get this thing glued together. I think the easiest way to clamp this up is to not really clamp it at all. I'm going to use masking tape as the clamp. First, I'll lay out a few pieces of masking tape. It's kind of tricky to do because the masking tape, of course, sticks to your hands. Then I'll take the pieces and stick them onto the tape. Now I'll just spread some glue on all the joints. Then we'll just fold it into a box and tape it up. Had a little too much tape, so I had to tear just a little bit of it off. Check it for square and adjust as necessary. Once I know that everything's square, I'm just going to let it dry. At this point, if you really wanted to put some clamps on there, now would be the time. You could clamp it up, put a little pressure on the joints. For this application, I think the tape is going to be plenty of clamping strength. Now we'll just let that glue dry. After giving them a light sanding, after the glue is set up, Now I'm going to glue these onto the base. I'll just run a bead of glue around the base and just a little on the bottom of the box. I'm not using a ton of glue because I don't want a whole lot of squeeze out. Instead of a clamp, I'm going to use this heavy steel plate. I'm going to try to get in there and wipe out as much squeeze out as I can. There's not a lot because I didn't use a whole lot of glue. The squeeze out that I can't quite get to, I'll chip it out with the chisel when it's dry. Just one little spot that I've got a little bit of squeeze out. Just going to knock that off there with a chisel. And just a little final sanding with some 220 just to soften the edges a little bit. I still want to keep them pretty crisp, but not super sharp. I'll finish these up with a couple of coats of spray lacquer. I'll put about 3 coats on, sanding lightly in between each coat. So there it is, a really simple, but I think a really cool looking pencil holder. It's got a lot of room. I plan on loading this thing up, having a lot of pencils on hand. I'm really happy with the way these turned out. Projects like this are really cool because you can knock them out pretty quick. I really only have maybe an hour or two in the construction of these. Most of the time was spent waiting for glue to dry and waiting for the coats of lacquer to dry. One cool thing about lacquer is it dries pretty quick, so it doesn't take all that long to build up a couple of nice coats. It's also a great use of scrap wood that you might have around the shop. Doesn't really take anything big. You can mix and match wood. Doesn't really matter. You don't have to keep everything the same. Just use what you have on hand. Just cut it down to fit, whatever. You could scale this up, you can make it taller or a little bit smaller, bigger, whatever you wanted to do. Another cool thing that you could do would be to make some dividers to divide this up. You could have maybe markers and pencils and who knows, a bunch of different things in here. There's a lot of options that you can do for a project like this. So go ahead and dig through your scrap bin. It's a great project to use up. They make great gifts. You can use them around the house, give them away as Christmas presents or whatever. Really cool. It's simple to build. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate the support. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any episodes. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon down there to get notifications when I do post new videos. You can also follow me on social media. I'll put links to it all down in the description, so go down there, check them out. Follow me on your favorite social media platform. Also, don't forget to head on over to my website, homebuiltworkshop.com, see what is happening over there, and until next time, thanks a lot for watching.